Hello everyone, how are you? Thank you. What's up guys and gals? Ricknineg here. Thank you so much for joining me. Oh, it's been so long since I've done a live stream. Well, it feels like it. I don't think I had one last week. Well, last week I was out on a type of a convention, and so I wasn't here. And so I was like, I miss my usual schedule. And then yesterday, in case any of you don't know that I do have a second channel, if you want to take a look at my second channel, down below the video, there's a link in the description. It says second channel. You click on there, and it's all about cars and really cool exotic cars and things like that. And I have some really fun things. I spent all day yesterday driving a special, amazing car, and I'm going to do some videos on it. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So I'm excited coming back to what we're doing now about another I Love Lucy live stream. Now let me see. I'm going to put a few episodes on. We're going to stick with season 2, and we're going to do an episode called Redecorating. Redecorating, not the Mertz's apartment, but the Ricardo's apartment. The first apartment, actually. That's it's kind of funny. It's the one with the wallpaper, if you ever remember that. The wallpaper is hilarious. So I do want to welcome you all to the channel. Thank you so much. And yeah, it means a lot that you're here, that we're watching the live stream. And we'll get started in a little bit. Let me see. Everything seems to be synced up on this side. So I'm excited. I'm excited to let you go and watch some Lucy. Because sometimes, you know, it's hard to take a moment, sit back, relax, talk, chat, you know, discuss Lucy. And, you know, I kind of felt like I missed that. So I think we could get started. There's a bit of people on here. And so that is a great way to get started. So let's do this. Very nice. And like I said, unfortunately, there will be no subtitles in this because this is turned around. But at least it'll be fun. We can watch some I Love Lucy. Now, what I do want to look over here, I do have my handy dandy I Love Lucy book here with me by Bart Andrews. And I'm going to look up this episode. This is from season 2. First episode? No, sorry. Not first episode. That was job switching. Definitely not the first episode. Actually, by this point, I did math. I did math because I'm a little bit of a nerd. And here's the fun part. By this episode, Lucy is pregnant with Desi. With Desi Jr. And so that is kind of interesting. Redecorating. This is on November 24th, 1952. Rating share not available. That's weird. They usually have a rating shared on this. Let me see. So yeah, Lucy is pregnant with a little small Desi here. Hey everyone, hello. Thank you so much for being here and watching and enjoying some I Love Lucy. And of course, can you guys think of how many times she redecorated her apartment? What's up everyone? I'm saying 4. That's just going off of my brain. I'm thinking this is the first, and then we have, obviously when they moved to the larger apartment, that doesn't count. That's just a move. She changes, I think, twice in the second apartment, and then the country. So I would say that's 4, but you guys might know that. Very nice. I'm doing well, everyone. I'm doing very well, actually. Look, bright and sunshiny day. It has actually rained in the morning, but now it's not that much like that. So, yes, this is the home show. Cynthia got it. Lucy thinks she's going to win, and she actually does win. Am I spoiling it for anyone? Hopefully I don't spoil it. Brandy is at 3? At least 4, Charles. Yeah, I would say in the 4 range. The apartment, this one, where they switch. So there's one in season 3. I'm trying to go back to my brain here. In season 3, well, I do have the book, right? Where, oh, well, remember when Ricky buys her the fur coat and then they redecorate the Mertz's apartment, but that one doesn't count either. So Brandy is saying that it's 3. So, lots of discussion here. You might have to do a little bit of homework to figure exactly how much it is. And the furniture she hid in the kitchen. Yes, that is another. Then, of course, she changed with Betty Ramsey. That is 3. And why do I think there's a 4th? There could be just 3. Definitely. I'm going to go with you guys on this because you guys are great at this stuff. I do very well when I do the research, not when I haven't done the research. So I trust that you guys have done that. Now, what I do like about the whole series, one thing, is that you see the progression of them going from basically a very meager, no-windowed apartment to all of a sudden having a huge house in the country, owning horses. Like, even though Ricky's complaining about money, yeah, that big jump, that big change that they have is really, really cool. Yeah, so we have to do some homework on this, guys. I'm hearing 3s and 4s. My immediate thing was 4, but we're going to have to take a look at that. And I know some of you are very, very good. The Munson's apartment when they switch back. Now, was that... Cynthia says the Munson's apartment when they switch back. Now, my question with that is, was that a redecoration, or was that just switching of the furniture? I'm looking for, like, redecorating, where she buys or they buy new furniture. I don't want to go, like, page through the book. But, okay, we have one here. Switching the furniture twice. I do love that the guys are always in like suits and ties. Isn't that cool? It's like such a fancy type outfit that they have. I mean, imagine going to the local deli in your suit. And not because you have an interview or something, because that's just the elegant thing to do as a dude back in those days. Sharif, I enjoy the chats too, believe me. They're so much fun. I actually relax when I do them. I get to watch some Lucy, talk to you guys. You guys teach me stuff for sure. I love when Fred and Ricky have these chats, and they always have them throughout all the seasons. I don't think like they stop at some point. It's not like in the beginning they start and then season 6 they stop. All the way up to the Lucy Desi Comedy Hour, they're getting together and having these little talks, and Fred's giving them advice, and Ricky's giving Fred advice, and they're going back and forth. I do like that a lot. That's very, very cool. Coffee table. Hold on, reading something here. So the Orphan Annie one, where she messes up her hair, that's the one where they stuff it in the kitchen. So that's definitely the next one. All right. So I think it's 3. I think it's 3. If it's another one, let me know what the 4th one is. Ethel swiping all the extension cords for the phones from all the apartments. And we all have cell phones. I was going to grab mine. It's somewhere. It's all the way over there. Yeah. I would think, what if they would make a Lucy episode like current day? Like, even this scene where these 2 girls, where they're talking to each other, I don't even think that would work, because they'd be with cell phones, and they don't have that party line thing going on. I don't even really know what that is. That's just so weird to me. So Cynthia says, Lucy got new furniture instead of her fur coat after redecorating the Mertz's apartment. Ah, yes. Very interesting. One of the funniest moments is when Lucy and the Merces disguise themselves as gangsters. Ethel shakes the owner's hand and has brass knuckles. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, she had to give up her mink. Isn't that dinky how the Ricardos always have to like pay for everything that the Merces do? You never noticed that? Like, I feel bad, especially for Ricky, because he's like the one like working hard nights and stuff. It's just like, oh man. And Lucy is like, please buy this stuff for the Mertzes, and he's like, ugh. I know they're friends of ours, but it's just like annoying. Alec, what is up? Yeah, so apparently these party lines, like, you would pick up and then people would be talking on the line because you had to share lines or something, or were those cheaper options? I don't know. I never grew up in that, and my parents didn't either, so I'm not too sure. And yes, Fred was cheap. But then, what? Were they... There's one thing about being cheap, and there's one thing about being, like, a good friend. Like, they are good friends, but sometimes I think, like, as a good friend, like, what did Fred ever buy the Ricardos? Did he buy him anything? Like, and not counting here, but I feel like the Ricardos paid for hotel rooms and trips and furniture and all this stuff. They didn't even give him breaks in the red, so it's like, oh, man. People dress more formally in those days. So I see men wearing jackets and ties at the same time. That's true, Will. And women are wearing these lovely dresses, and they walk out with a handkerchief and they drop them. The guys pick them up in their suits. Yep, those are the days. Rick, do you know who the lady was that was on the phone? Either of the two ladies? I didn't really pay... Ooh. Beat up furniture. I didn't really pay attention to them. They look familiar, especially the one on the right, or on this right. Might be the reverse for you, but yeah. Fred bought a $10 basket of fruit when they moved. Oh, wow. In 1950s money, how much is that? Like $100? All right, so we'll say Fred bought him $100 worth of gifts. But he also did buy little Ricky a big, what do you call it? A big box of like gift favors and stuff, because it was his birthday for the Superman episode, and they bought him a gift. And they also bought Ricky a thing of caviar that was like $5 or $50, something like that. So I do remember that. And he bought the Christmas tree. Okay, so we're adding stuff on Fred's tab. That's good. I like this. Oh, that very well could be Alec. I'm not a really big watcher of the Jack Benny show, so I definitely think that's a possibility, especially all these character actors coming in. So do you guys know Hans Conried? He's the tippy toe English instructor guy. Did you guys catch that? Yes, well, last week I was busy pretty much all weekend, and on Sunday night I was just done. And then yesterday I was just doing a bunch of stuff with my second channel, my card channel. Link in the description, self-promotion here. But yeah, I gotta get to that. He wanted to pretend Ricky sent the flowers, but Fred signed. Did Fred buy them, though? No, he didn't pay. Remember the guy left? And he's like, wait, you didn't pay. I'm sure he'd eventually paid, but I don't know. So the tippy toe, that's the English instructor. Also, if you ever watched the show Gilligan's Island, which I'm a big fan of, he plays Wrong-Way Feldman, the pilot who gets lost. He plays him 2 times. So he's really different in both. Like, he's a really good character actor. That accent, Mr. Jenkins here, he kind of plays like a sleazy furniture guy. Pretty cool. $5 lighter, and he wrote 35 on it. Fred. Yes, that's right. I had forgotten about that lighter. It made it look... Well, that was Ethel, wasn't it? Even Fred was like, oh, that's being really cheap. That was bad. I think Ethel was on a cheap streak. Oh, and the leg falls off. I've seen that. Goofy song, but hilarious. Tippy toe. So, how much does he pay them? Do you guys remember? I think it's... I'll wait and see. If you guys remember, I'll look it up here, because it should be in this book right here. I don't want to... I have a number in mind. I'll tell you. I'll be honest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Does it say here? It doesn't say here. Yes, it does. I got it. You guys know? Oh, Alec. 75. That's correct. And then, how much afterwards? So after, right, Ricky buys back the furniture for a really marked up price. Really ridiculous. It's 75. Correct, everyone. Yes, $75. Pays in cash. And then Ricky has to pay... It's 500, right? I think that's what I saw. Yeah, $500. Oh my gosh. Now my question is, where'd the beds go? Oh, yes. No, they're in the living room. I remember now. No worries. They were in the... Yes, because in the next scene, Desi or Ricky comes in. Oh my gosh, that wallpaper. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's just interesting to me that they're still in the set. And this is all happening on a set. And that they themselves want to be the paper hangers. They have a pretty nice scene here. This is really reminiscent of Laurel and Hardy and their type of work, where they're doing like paper hanging or some type of carpentry. Excuse me, very similar to like the Three Stooges as well. When Lucy sells the dude's clothes to Alan's used clothing emporium. Yep. Yes, Ricky's buys stuff back a lot. It's funny. Oh, bed bugs. Ugh. Those are gross. I actually found a spider in my bed the other day. Well, today. And I'm so OCD about that stuff. I don't like spiders. Anyway, segueing. I love their inexperience here. Of course, Ethel holding up the wallpaper, being part of the shenanigans, being the assistant here. See, now, sometimes the question begs, who is more nutsy cuckoo? Is it Lucy? Or is it Ethel that follows along to all the craziness that Lucy does? Like, really, who's the crazy one here? It's always the best question. Because, of course, Ethel plays like the straight man, quote unquote, and Lucy plays the oh, jeez. Just tore it. That's a good question. What kind of wall? I'm imagining it's like a really bright color, because when she puts it up, everyone goes, oh. And so I'm guessing like a red, or maybe even like a bright blue, maybe like a teal. But that's just me. Like, I don't think it would be like a pink, because no one would react. It would have to be a really bright color. But that's just me. I could be totally wrong. Let me see. Let me go back here. Where Lucy sold the vacuum. Yes, that is called Sales Resistance. That episode. When she tried to sell it to the lady without electricity. Yep. Do you know who that is? Verna Felton. She was also the maid in the Grumpy Maid episode. And she is the real-life mother of... What's his name? Oh, man. Well, actually, she's a real-life mother of an actor who was here. He plays the announcer in some episodes. But, so Verna Felton's husband, I've said this a few times, was the voice of Pluto, the original Pluto voice. So that's kind of cool. And she was in Disney stuff too, Verna Felton. 80% crazy for Lucy, and Ethel's only 20%. Interesting numbers there. I don't know. Maybe some people would argue that Ethel's a crazy one who actually goes along with this. Look, she's still helping Lucy with all the paper hanging after her shoes are getting filthy. She got her face full of paste. Wallpaper paste. Oh, man. Her angry faces are awesome. Like fruit stripe gum. Yes, I'm thinking something like that. It could very well be blue. Like, that's what's in my brain. Blue or like I don't think green is too crazy. I think blue would be like more nuts, you know? Like, it's like, who would put blue, like that type of blue? Oh, jeez. Now here, Ethel, really, why that strip wouldn't even fit on that edge? Oh, jeez. I mentioned it's all the bright primary colors. I think so. If you remember the color ones, they're very bright. All their clothing and everything. I don't know why. I guess it's the 50s thing. Everything is really bright and cheery and so forth. Orange. Brandy, why do you think it's orange, or how do you know it's orange? Now, orange would be very interesting. I could see how that could be really, really crazy. Yellow, not so much. I think orange is a crazier color. Look at the slack she has in the middle. Oh, she was great. Because, you know, they had to practice this, and they wanted that slack to be in there. And she had to practice how to put it on. She actually pushes the top down so you get that extra slack. She was good. She was good. Because remember, if she wouldn't have gotten that, I mean, she could have worked her way around it. But she's good. She's great. And look how straight they put that. Yeah, there we go. There's the mattress. There's both mattresses, the one against the wall. There we go. A little baby crib. Poor guy comes so many times to get the furniture. He wanted to take it the first time. He couldn't. This is the second time. He walks out, and then Desi comes in, or Ricky comes in, sorry. And then he has to come back in again. They must have passed each other in the hallway. They were really close. And I think the character's name was Mr. Jenkins. And Ricky goes, Mr. Jenkins! Mr. Jenkins! I love that. Oh, yes, I have to hold on to bed to keep from falling out. And my favorite part is when Fred comes in. Oh, Ricky's eyes. What? You what? Mr. Jenkins. Yeah, when Fred comes in and goes, like like he's about to have a stroke. It's just hilarious. His head wobbling when he sees the color. That's so funny. Burnt orange. That's a lovely color for a bedroom. That's funny. Actually, my walls here are light mustard. Orangey mustard. It's kind of more like a Dijon mustard, actually. Orangey Dijon mustard. More like a Thousand Islands dressing, I guess. Do you remember when they had I Love Lucy in color? Did you remember what Lucy's daughter said about it? So, Dale, there are some episodes in color. Let me grab some. Yep. I do have these. I'm wondering if these are the ones that you're referring to. There are 2 episodes here. These are both the ones, the John Wayne double episodes, or at least the 2 episodes that focus on John Wayne. That's this. And then here we have the Superman and the LA at Last episode in Hollywood. A lot of Hollywood episodes. Those are in color. And then there's also the Christmas show, or the Christmas episode with the tree. I have that one in color as well. Actually, Lucy's daughter, Lucy Luckenbill, she watched at least one of my videos. She commented on it. I was like, oh, I'm so honored. And we messaged back and forth for a little bit. That was really awesome. But she provided some of the colors, some of the primary colors that she knew about, and I think that's good. Yeah. Oh, Mr. Jenkins. Were they shot in color or colorized? Great question, Michael. They were actually colorized. They were not shot in color. They actually were thinking of doing that at the end. Kind of at the end, there was an opportunity for color, but they didn't get into that. It's a painstaking job to colorize it. It's not just a computer program that you go colorize and it does. They have to study the colors. Computers kind of do it. Some hand thing. You know, there's a lot of work that goes involved. Hours and hours. It takes a while. So, yes. Good question. Yes, the Scotland episode, which is one of my least favorite episodes, I have to say. Yeah, it's just creepy to me. I know it's a dream sequence, and that's why it's creepy, or that's why it's like that. But I don't own that one. I am not sure if there's a single DVD with just that one on it. But no, I do not own it in color. Wait. Although it may come, because I have the DVD set, a DVD set. And it might be in color in the bonus area. I don't know. I have to look that up, because it very well could be. I have to study that later. I'll take a look at that. Oh my gosh, Will, if she would like come on one of my videos. Oh my goodness, that's so crazy. I really didn't ask her, to be honest with you. Like I maybe I could have been like, do you want to be in one of my videos? But I don't know. I want to give it some time. I want to hopefully see if she sees others and then like gets back to me again, because we've talked briefly. And okay, sound off. We talked briefly, and she was awesome. She was great. And so I don't know. I might keep in touch here and there. I may say that I've uploaded a new video, something like that, and see. But I would love to like interview her, have some questions. It would be great. Oh, so there's a little bit of trivia going on here. Brandy's asking the 3 different names that were used for Ethel Mertz. Oh, we got 2 already. Wow, Michael, you are quick. I do have a video where I show that that's a blooper where there are 3 names, and they are in that video, so I do know what those are. There's one more. Starts with an R, as in Rick. So what's left? Oh, and here goes Ricky. He goes... He has the crazy Cuban eyes. I'm dizzy. Where's the window? Lucy, where's the window? I love how she actually has to think of where the window is. They papered over it. Roberta, good. 1, 2, 3. People, you're on it, man. You guys are no joke in your love for I Love Lucy. Like, a lot of this stuff that we come up with, like, you guys already know. So that is fantastic. Look at that. He's trying to let some air in. Yeah. Ethel. I love how she's in the closet. Like, I think she was actually papering the closet, right? Because I think the closet was papered as well. It wasn't just white, or it wasn't just like a blank color. And you guys know there is a blooper when Desi came in. William Frawley was waiting outside. You could see him. That's in my latest blooper video. I think 18 bloopers from season 2. Take a look at that if you haven't. I think you'd enjoy it. There, yep. She paid for the inside as well. Look at Ricky being like, what the heck? That is awesome. Now, oh, and there goes Fred. I love this. He is awesome. Oh man, I love William Frawley. This show is all-time best. I'm with you guys. Let's see. So I was reading that and then I stopped mid-sentence. The times Ricky has some explaining to do, like forgetting any in Hollywood. Can others think of other times when Lucy corners Ricky? Oh man, that's a great question. I love that question. All right, let me get this episode going here. Now I'm going to ask you, I have 2 choices for you guys. Do you want to see the episode Lucy loses his voice or Lucy is enceinte? Means Lucy is pregnant. Lucy is pregnant, or she announces that she's pregnant, or Ricky loses his voice. Mm-hmm. Let me know, everyone. I'd be happy to play either or. I'd be happy to play either more. The anniversary, very good, yes. The Mars one is a moo. The voice, people want to see the voice. Want to see you pregnant? Jennifer wants to see the pregnant episode. Voice. I see Ricky. I see Mar. I see lots of stuff. I see a lot of voice though. Unless people go crazy with the enceinte one, we're gonna go voice. Alright, I think we'll go voice. Seems like that's what it is. Alright, Perfecto Mundo. This one I actually like because there's a little bit of dancing involved with the jitterbug. Exactly. There's a little bit of a... Well, they do that like the Gay 90s, right? Gay 90s review type thing. I see Desi singing. There we go. I dropped something. Nope. So, you know that the story about Desi wanting to always sing or wanting to sing as much as possible. And that was a big thing in this. There's a blooper right here where Marco calls Ricky, he's supposed to call him Ricky, he calls him Desi, you know, short form of Desi. And it's in there. They leave that in there. Obviously, it's a big mistake, calling him by his real name. But yeah, so Desi loved to sing and dance. And I think that was, I'm not going to say it was part of the contract, but he made it a big deal that every once in a while he wanted to sing a number because he liked singing and he wanted to kind of promote himself as a singer. Oops. Yeah, so interesting. Yeah, so Scott, good question. Lucy and Vivian were pretty good friends. Like, they would go to each other's houses. There's a story where Lucy had an interview, Lucille Ball, with her husband, Gary Morton, second husband. And they said that they were home after getting a divorce, both of them, in relatively similar time. Because Ethel got a few divorces as well, I believe, from Philip Ober. And they were just talking about how miserable guys are and so forth. And so she said that they would get together. They were actually doing like their nails or some type of like girl stuff with each other, you know, like manicures and stuff. Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. CBS Suits hated Ricky's voice. Yeah, I didn't know that they hated his voice, but I do know a lot of people were annoyed by it. That like he's like, oh, he's gonna sing now. I don't mind it. I actually fairly enjoy. Oh, and there's the new furniture. So by the way, this episode is, let me just double check. It comes right after the redecorating. So I'm not going to say it's a continuation, but it's a continuation of the broader story. Because if you know, there are 2 stories that usually go on through this. There's the constant story of them basically starting out in the apartment, making their way up show business, more popular, more money. They move into better apartment, so forth. But then there's also every episode is like a mini story, of course. Gilligan's Island has that similar thing as well. A lot of shows have that, but I think people forget that there's an overarching story and then there's also the individual each episode story. Let's see here. The Showgirls. Yes, the old Showgirls. That's hilarious. I think they're great with Barbara Pepper and Lucy Stand-in, Hazel Pierce. I think both of them are in that, which is kind of cool. Ricky's bugged out eyes. The CBS said as long as the singing was integral to the plot, fine. Exactly. So they had the writers had to work that in there. Yes, great Bradness for that. I mean, thank you for that, bringing that into the conversation. I do think that's important. They didn't just want him to sing because then it'd be like he's just singing to sing. Like, make it part of the plot so it doesn't seem out of place. So I'm with you on that. All right. Or Lucy goes duck hunting when she shot the duck. Not only did you kill it, you cleaned it, knocked his feathers off. I can actually show that to you guys if you want that one. If you guys want the camping episode, I do like that one. Good question, Will. It's not, I wouldn't say that he got booted, but what happened is, it's a great question. After the last episode that he's in, which I can't think of exactly right now, of course you guys might be able to let me know, but the last one, what happened was he and Desi had a big fight, and it was like on set, like it was, you know, in between takes or right before or something, after they got in a huge argument, and he literally just left. Like, they said he stormed out of the studio. They never saw him again. Like, it was that bad, and so they obviously switched it around with the agent. I think they got Julie, who was, he played a few parts, and then he kind of had different agents going around. So yes. Let's see. Yeah, so after a few good amount of episodes, by this time they were calling a lot of the shots, so you're absolutely right. Oh, Jennifer, that's a really interesting thing. They don't want Desi singing? Yeah, see, that's the thing I hate. They're not censoring, but they're just cutting down a lot of these. You know, the singing, because it's like some people don't like it, so they cut down with that, you know. There's so much editing, and I have the untampered with episodes. Like, that's what I like. Even the Philip Morris stuff, there's a lot of Philip Morris advertising in the episodes. I like that. I don't want to see that cut out, but, you know, with commercials, everything has changed. Oh, wow. I did not know that about Bill Frawley making money on residuals after he died. I didn't think any of them had that. Do you know? Well, I knew Lucy and Desi, they had the rights to the film, so they definitely got residuals. And so I guess I'm not surprised. I don't know if, I guess it was written in their contract, but that's good. I mean, I think they deserved it. Now everyone kind of owns, I mean, it's all spread out, the residuals and so forth, but yeah, it's just an interesting thing. The band was awesome. They had a really good band. They're always on par. Like, they're great. What 2 episodes did the Mertzes not appear? Now you're talking about both the Mertzes. There are a couple where Fred did not appear, and a lot of times shows do that. And then when the actors don't appear, they actually get upset. Like Kramer from Seinfeld, very similar, and they have it in their contract where they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to not appear," and so it's just weird sometimes. There's one episode where Ethel isn't there, and she went to visit her mother, and Fred is there. That's the not the saxophone one. No, not the saxophone one. I have to think of that. Let's see. You saw Dark Corner 1935. Lucy was terrific in that one. Scott Farrell. I've never heard of that one, to be honest. Dark Corner. Wow, sounds like not comedic. Maybe it is. Vita Mita Benjamin. Hulu doesn't show many of the episodes. Yeah, I try to show you guys when I play them, maybe episodes that you haven't seen. I mean, maybe all of you have seen them, but I mean, not common episodes, because everyone's seen Vitamin and Benjamin and all these, but there's some that, you know, maybe like this one loses his voice, well, they don't play. And this is a great episode, I think. This is very underrated. I enjoy it because Lucy stages the show, and she does her own thing with Fred and Ethel. It's pretty funny. Vitamin and Benjamin, that's a good question. I need to think about that. I think that makes sense. I don't think they're in there. Yeah, well, the band members never talking to each other. I've never, like, paid attention, but subconsciously, I guess I know that. I mean, the reason is they can't distract from what's going on in front. It's pretty cool because if you think about it, they can see everything. So they can see from their vantage point, Desi, Lucy, whoever's dancing or so forth, and then see the audience and the camera. So they see all that while the episode's happening. They have a reverse view of what we're seeing. I always thought that was cool. Like, I look at them and think of me. Like, I'm like, that's me in reverse kind of thing, you know? I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that's an interesting thought. You know, because I would like to know if the band members knew what was going to happen, or if they just knew, okay, you need to know this, this, and this song for the show, and they were professionals, so they just knew it. And because, you know, Desi says, okay, now we're going to play number 444, and they just start. So that doesn't mean that they need to know the plots. And since they laugh a lot in the background, I'm wondering if it was a surprise to them. It might have been. Yes, Fred had something in his contract where he can go and see, was it the Dodgers? I knew a baseball team. I'm not a baseball guy, so I don't know exactly what team. But yes, I knew he wanted to go. I think it might have been like New York, a New York team. Mets or... Sorry, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I'm not a baseball guy, but I'll trust you guys with that. I don't know much about baseball. But yes, I do knew that he wanted to have certain games. Like if they went to the playoffs, he would be allowed to go and watch. Oh yeah, so the Brooklyns were in Dodgers. So that kind of makes the Dodgers were Brooklyn. Maybe the Hollywood Stars. Yes, Nancy the harpist. The Vitamin de Benjamins when Ethel visits her mother. Interesting. Very nice. Babaloo. It's pretty Baba-lousy, Lucy says. I love how she dressed up for him like that, trying to play the nurse. Now, what's that in Desi? I can't really make out what's in his... It looks like origami, like paper origami, little designs. And it's really interesting to me when they're barefoot, because, you know, there was a lot of stuff on shows, if you notice, where they don't show feet. It's like a stigma type thing, which is really interesting to me. You always see hands, but feet, there's never like a close focus on them. Like Lucy had a couple episodes where she was doing something with her feet and they focused, but she had like stockings on and shoes, and it was almost like they were trying to cover her toes. Like, it's just really interesting to me how like feet is a no-no. Same thing with Gilligan's Island, but that's just my thought on that, or something I've noticed. Well, they shot in LA. You're right, Bradness. They shot very close by in Southern California, in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California. Yep. Did the Merces go to Cuba with the Ricardos? Yes, they did. They went in... I'm trying to think. The Ricardos or Lucy Goes to Havana? Lucy Goes to Cuba? I probably could get the exact name of the episode, but yes, they go and visit Ricky's family. Uncle Alberto is the main family guy, and yeah, that is definitely a big plot that they did, and that's where he plays the drums. Little Ricky plays the drums in Cuba, and it's funny because some of the band members from his original band's there, and they didn't go apparently. Who was that? Yes, the Ricardos visits Cuba, episode 162. Cool. All right. What a nice. Yeah, they were so chummy. They just went everywhere. Grape crushing Lucy's bare feet. That is true. But I think, if you notice, when she puts her feet in, like, her foot is almost like in the grapes, or her toes are even curled. Like, it's just interesting to me. I've always noticed that, because it's like there's certain instances in shows where you need to show feet, like they're doing something with their feet, but they're either in socks or they're like, there's one in Gilligan's Island where what do you call it, Skipper doesn't have shoes on and he's supposed to be just barefoot, but his feet are like inside the sand, like his feet are under the sand. And I was like, there was no need for that, if only to hide his toes, his feet. Like, it's almost like indecent. I don't know. It's just a thought. I don't know if you guys have thought about that. But anyway, me and my craziness. The Mertzes went everywhere. The Ricardos. I mean, Ricky. Ricky paid for it all. That's definitely something. Joanne, how are you? Hopefully everything's okay. Thanks for joining the live stream to everyone. I do want to say that. I do think that it's super important to keep thanking you guys, because I do appreciate it that you come and watch. Ricky thinking he's going to get bald and Lucy doing all those remedies is my favorite. Yeah, that's a great episode. I noticed everything. I try to. I have this thing where maybe Maybe it's a disease, I don't know, or a mental thing. But I pay attention to a lot of details. I'm very like visually oriented. I have a photographic memory, so I can see something like once, maybe twice, and I could remember it pretty much forever. So yeah. I wonder how true the rumors were that Vivian hated Will. Michael, it's absolutely true. They absolutely hated each other, which makes everything seem cooler that they were actually able to get along, meaning like on the show, that they acted so well in lovey-dovey. They absolutely hated each other. They called each other names, indecent names. When William Frawley passed away, Vivian said champagne for everybody. So that's absolutely true. When they were in jail, Lucy kissed, but Ethel pretended to kiss Fred. Exactly right. They hated, I think Vivian hated Bill more than Bill hated Vivian. She stipulated that she did not want to even touch his lips like that. They kissed very lightly. And so yes, they pretended to, and then they added the kiss sound post-production because they that's how much they hate each other. So yes, very true. But We Love Lucy, they made on the Mercer's ship. Yes, there's a disagreement on there. It's a continuity error. In another episode, Lucy says that Marion Strong introduced her to Lucy. That Marion Strong had them go on a blind date. But then in the episode in We Love Lucy, that's different. They met in a different way. So yeah, there's a story continuity error there. Oh yes, Fred swaying on the ship where he gets seasick, and then Lucy gets seasick. Were the beds pushed together in the beginning episodes, and when did they begin being apart as single beds? Good question. The bed situation. Yes, the bed situation, they did not want to appear like they were in the same bed because it was indecent. Sex is, you can't show that on television, especially for a married couple. No. Even for a married couple. You couldn't even say the word pregnant. By this point, Lucy was pregnant. If you could see, she's a little full. I would say she doesn't have a belly, but she's fuller around the waist. Look at her belt. Look just under. Yes, in the next episode, they announce that she's finally enceinte, pregnant. Oh, and here is the directions that Fred brings in for the show. So the episode's not going to end yet, but I want to give you guys enough time to vote for what you'd like. Pregnant women are unpredictable. Lucy's showbiz swan song, and Lucy hires a tutor. That's a tippy tippy toe one. I really like the showbiz swan song because they do the barbershop quartet, and I think that's hilarious. I might just put that and override everything. If it's not, I just love that episode because they get the shaving cream and the whipped cream and stuff. I don't know, but you guys let me know what you want. Maybe I'll be nice. I've seen all the episodes. And I know some of you guys don't have the on-demand. So if I give you a choice between 3 episodes, and you can choose between those, and I'd be happy to do it. Because again, I could watch them anytime, and I know some people don't. So the tutor one, okay. Pregnant women are unpredictable, showbiz swan song, or hires English tutor. Let me know, and I'll be happy to put it on. I love the sign thing. This whole scene and the signs blinking. I love that whole effect. I love that. I don't know how it's done. But we go to the club, which is to the right from our version, if we were in the audience, of the kitchen. Yes. So cool. I love that when they go to the club, it's one of my favorite things to watch. So we have one for tutor, one for swan song. Let me know what you'd like, everyone. 2 words to never use. Give us the lousy one first. All right. Seems like tutor is taking over. Oh, I love this. I think the first one we get are Fred and Ethel, right? Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. So I did an episode on that, on the best dances or the best dance numbers. That is one of them. If you haven't taken a look at that, I think you'd enjoy it. There's also, I think, one of the best Fred moments. That's under one of the best Fred moments. I think that was great. Oh, there come the lovely showgirls from 1920. So the first woman is Hazel Pierce. She was Lucy stand-in. Whenever they did rehearsal, she stood in there, so they got the lights and everything ready. The larger woman on the left right now is Barbara Pepper. She was one of the earlier choices for Ethel, to play Ethel. Very interesting. So, his bugged out eyes. Oh, jeez. Now, that older lady on the right is not the one who plays Mrs. McGillicuddy, but I have seen her before, and you guys obviously will figure out and tell me like that, because I can't think of it right now. Carolina in the morning. Yes. Oh, Peggy's in love with Ricky, and Mrs. Lewis was the second the Merces didn't come out. And you know what? Let me say something to that. I don't think those were very strong episodes. And might that have to do with the Merces not being there? I'd say so. The Peggy one, yeah, but I wouldn't say that's a strong episode. The Mrs. Lewis one, it has Edward Everett Horton, which I think is pretty cool. But, oh my god, these girls. Barbara Pepper, second from the right, on Ricky's left, and Hazel Pierce all the way on the left. Kind of cool. Yes, she was also on the bus in Hollywood. She was in a lot of stuff. What's up, Scott? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. Oh, you prefer the episodes when they don't put on a show? Yeah, I like it because it's like we're in on the club, you know, like we're in it. Oh, Maestro, please wave your baton. I'm an angel. Oh man, they were apparently showgirls from the 20s. Oh, that's funny. And Desi pretends like he's gonna trip. See, little things like that. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, yes. Now, this is the best. Ricky's eyes right here. His reaction to seeing them makes me laugh every time. You know, even the orchestra, the trombone guys and the guy right behind Desi, they're laughing their butts off at them. Oh, that's funny. So, let's see. I have to back up a little bit. Let's see. Barbara Pepper may play... I haven't really seen much of Green Acres, so I couldn't... I didn't know that, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Bill was an alcoholic, and Desi told him if he came to work drunk, he would be fired. Absolutely. You're correct. It's a yeah. Lucy's mom. She's a lady. Now, there's no soundtrack. I'm sometimes a little upset when people keep insisting that there's like a laugh track here. There isn't. There's a live studio audience. So, and I know this because I watched this show so much. I can tell you that Gilligan's Island's a laugh track because it's the same laugh. Not here. You hear uh-ohs at different times. It's just different. It's very custom. It's loud sometimes. It's soft sometimes. Sometimes you hear more guys, sometimes you hear more girls. Like, it's so varied that it cannot be you cannot recreate that. So yes, it's live. Oh wow, I didn't know that, Bradness. I believe Frawley's credited to introducing Carolina's song in vaudeville. I would not doubt that because he was very, very, very big in vaudeville. Oh, and here they have the final Charleston. So it seems like we're gonna do the English tutor episode, because that's the one that most people said, with Tippy Tippy Toe, hence Conread. Yeah, I'm glad they chose Vivian Vance as Ethel. Not that Barbara Pepper couldn't do it, but I love... Oh my god, his worst eyes. His bugged out eyes. Yes, Michael, you can definitely hear Ricky or Desi off stage laughing. I think that's the best part. He's really laughing at the Slowly I Turn back in the ballet episode. Oh my gosh. He's so loud on that one, to the point where I think where they quiet him down later on, because so earlier on you could hear him more and later on not so much. Let's see. Trying to catch up with the chat, guys. Sorry if I happen to miss your question or anything. Feel free to ask it again. I try to get to everyone, so hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to ignore anyone. Sometimes I get off tangents and I start talking, and then the thing goes up, and then I miss your question. So I do apologize if I happen to miss it. Did you see the Desi interview where he said other shows lifted his audience sounds? You're absolutely right. I know a lot of prominent shows. I can't name them now, but I've heard that a lot of prominent shows actually took the I Love Lucy laugh track and put in their own shows. I was like, ugh. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it is what it is. Let's see. Is that true that some of the O's were Lucille Ball off stage? Alec, it wasn't Lucille Ball. It was Lucille Ball's mom. She was at every single taping or every single, taping of an episode. And apparently she got so into the story, Mr. Chambers. She got so into the story that whenever Lucy got in trouble, she'd go, oh. Like she got into the story, and everyone said that she was really, really into it. Like, I mean, her daughter's in it. But to the point of where she like believed the stories. You know, when you watch something like that, it's like when you get into a car race or watch a concert, you really get into it. You know that they're putting on a show, but you get to that point. So kind of cool there. All right, we're gonna switch to the English tutor because that's what most people said. Although I think that's a pretty good episode. All right, Lucy hires an English tutor. All right. Check Caroline in the Morning on Wikipedia for Bill Frawley and film first exposures of that song. I will take a look at that because I'm actually very interested in William Frawley and his like pre I Love Lucy days. Like I think that's really interesting. Poor me? Why poor me? Oh, me poor me or poor Rick like Ricky? I've been called Ricky, and so I definitely identify with Ricky Ricardo. There's a big bow over the baby bump? Really? Where? Did she take it off or something? I can't see it. Oh my god, the dill pickle with pistachio. And then she put anchovies later on in the other one. I mean, it's not that gross, but it's not a common thing that you would just go out and eat, you know? Was Desi actually coming down with an illness, and that's why they made this episode? This one? I don't think he was sick here. Oh, there is a point where he does have a raspy voice. There's another episode where I'm like, oh, Lucy is super sick in this one. Her voice is really raspy. It's not like smoke voice. It's like she had a sore throat. You can tell. And so, yeah. So, yeah, I've not seen any old Bill Frawley movies. Girl or boy? Do they want a girl or a boy? By this point, they already had Lucy Jr., or, their first kid, Lucy Arnaz. Or Lucy Luckenbill. I don't call her Lucy Luckenbill, just like I don't call Lucille Ball Lucille Morton, because some people, it's just not a popular way of identifying her. But that would be her correct name. I mean, that's who she was married to when she passed away. And even Lucy Arnaz isn't correct. Lucy Luckenbill, but people are like, who's that? So Lucy Arnaz Jr., I think that makes more sense to people. When he loses his voice. Oh, when he loses his voice, that makes sense. I think he is, but I think, in my opinion, he faked that voice. He did a really good job, but then he gets to the point where he's raspy, and then by the end of the scene, his voice is very clear, and I'm like, does his voice really clear up in 15? I think he was just trying really hard in the beginning, and then he kind of, wavered off, but that's just me. I don't know. I think that was just part of the story, in my opinion. Where her voice was raspy. I need to think about that. I'd really need to think about that and get back to you, because I don't remember offhand. But I do remember watching it, and I was like, oh, she's super sick. Yeah, Patty, you're right. She commented on one of my videos. It's the one that got the most views. 200,000 plus views, which I still can't believe. It's still growing. Goodness gracious. I mean, that was to the point where my videos weren't huge. Like those two. I just have two videos that have gone over like 50,000, and those are it. And I was like, oh my goodness. And it's very humbling to see that people would just take to the video so much. And so yeah, she commented. I was like, I'm gonna pin this to the top. I mean, why wouldn't I, right? So yeah, I'm very honored by that. Like, I mean, that's Lucy's daughter. I mean, she's got the final say. She's the one who decided to move her mom's grave from Los Angeles to New York. I mean, she's a pretty big deal in my opinion. I mean, she's the closest thing we have to Desi and Lucy. Oh, and he sings Arriba, Arriba with Havana You. Havana 1970 something, was it? His alma mater. And then I think this was 1952. Was it? Or did it go into 53? Because this was right on that. No, so right. This is December 29th, 1952. Now, if anyone's really good with history, I know in the mid-50s, I believe, they had the Cuban Revolution, the communist, Fidel Castro Revolution. And so I'm guessing this was in the Bautista time where it was considered democratic. So that's why he's like, yeah, let's just send our kid to Cuba. I'm pretty sure if it was communist by this time, he wouldn't have said that. So that's just an interesting part of history that I always think about. I do think the Cuban Revolution was mid-50s, but you guys are definitely going to know that more than me. Especially if you lived during that era, or if your parents did, and you know, my parents were not alive in the 50s, so I'm not sure. But I should know it. I should know that date, or that year at least. I'm really bad with dates. 58, there we go. Will, you're on it. So he wanted Desi Jr. to go to school in 77 in Cuba, and 58. Okay, yeah, so definitely no Cuban communism there. He would not send his kid to a communist university. Lucy is way before your time. It is way before my time. Absolutely. But I'm trying to think how I got into it. I don't know. I can't tell you or remember the first time I watched it. I know that it was just something where I have to say that the first episode I probably watched was something outrageous. Like the bread episode where the giant bread comes out, or the giant loaf. Or just something visual like that, because that caught my eye and then wanted to let me see the other one, and then I just got to the point where I just kept seeing everything. Kept wanting to see everything. So yeah, and that's how I got into it, and I started saying old shows are pretty cool, and started watching old shows. Patty, I do like the colorized episodes. I do have a few. I do watch them in both. I do watch them in color every once in a while to refresh my brain kind of thing, and then I watch them in the original black and white. I do think each one has its thing, and I don't think that color is necessarily better. I think it gives you a different flavor. It's like, do you like chocolate cake or do you like tiramisu? I like both, and I would like a bite of both. That's me. You know, it's not like I'm going to say, well, you can only have tiramisu or only chocolate cake. No way. There's also a small handful of episodes where Viv Ethel had, if not a sore throat, sounded like she had a stuffy nose or head. That's true. And you have to remember something, because Lucy Leckenbill told me, so I can use her as a source. She told me that they would actually rehearse 4 days, tape 1 day, that's 5 days a week, and then they have 2 days off. That was their schedule. That's a crazy schedule. It's not like they like you would think, oh, they rehearse 1 day, they tape it 1 day, they have, like firefighters, they have a whole week off. And no, they had an episode every week, I believe. I mean, yes, they had the seasons would end and so forth, but pretty much every week they had an episode. Like, it was very, very marked. I mean, look at this. The benefit, January 7th, January 14th, January 21st, literally every 7 days, January 28th, February 4th, February 11th, February 18th. I mean, they were spot on, unless, of course, when the season ended. Hey, what's up, Heather? Nice to see you. Heather is we have Casey, Heather, Will, Scott, Patty, Bradness. I mean, all of you are great supporters, and I appreciate all of you. I mean, everyone on here, but I mean, you guys are all, you're in the chat, and all of you are just awesome just being very, very supportive to my channel. Oh, as an English graduate, oh my God, through and what is this thing? Cough and coo. And let me tell you, as a Spanish speaker, as a native Spanish speaker, I can absolutely tell you that I never thought of the pronunciation things till I watched this, and I was like, English is really messed up. Like, I love the language, but it's just like, it makes no sense compared to Spanish. Spanish is so logical. There are a few things that are weird, like letters, like H, you don't say the H, you don't say hasta, you say hasta, and so forth. But, I mean, yes, ku and cow and the oo, ah, oo sounds, yeah, for sure. Alec, and of course Alec, of course all of you, there's so many on here that please don't use my forgetting of you guys as not appreciating. I tell you guys, I appreciate every single one of you. I really do. And that's why I try to talk to all of you in the chat. I had someone who say, Rick, it's kind of annoying when you say hi to everyone. But I'm like, if someone's taking the time to come and watch me for an hour plus, the least I can say is, hey, what's up? Thanks for coming in. Like, that's just me. That's the type of person I am. So do you understand what Ricky says in Spanish? Absolutely 100% all the time. And let me tell you, it's weird because I take for granted that everyone does, and then it's like, oh no, they don't. And so I don't know. I'm kind of working on an episode. It's hard because I need to literally watch everything and then take notes. What's in Spanish, what's in English, but to translate for some people, I mean, it's not ludicrous what he says. It makes sense, but it does add a little bit. Like you see it when he says, "Mira que tiene cosa que pasa una cosa como esta." It's really fast, but it's like, how in the world does something like this happen? Basically, it's a rough translation. So yeah, he says a lot of things. One time he was like, when he says he's un día te voy a agarrar por el cuellito. He's like basically would grab you by the neck and just ring you like this, and then she kisses him, and then they start kissing. That's another one. All right, Casey, bye bye. Thank you. Yes, English is complicated. I heard Chinese is really bad, but like English and Chinese are very difficult. What mean, Bill? When he says un día voy a agarrar tu cuello like that, I'm gonna grab your neck and just ring it. He says, yeah. So yeah, I basically understand everything that he says, which is, like I said, it's an interesting thing, but I take it for granted because I'm like, well, yeah, of course I understand, but then I try not to hear sometimes, like try not to think of what he's saying and then try to be like Lucy, because I know that she didn't understand much Spanish, at least the character. And so, yeah. Sure. So I think I definitely will do like a translating episode sometime, or just like think of one maybe. Give me a few if you guys can help me. That there's a lot of Spanish in it. Maybe the Cuba episode. I'd be happy. I don't know if you guys remember the Cuba episode where Lucy says macho grasa, and they said, you call him a big fat pig. Macho is like macho man, okay, strong, rough. And grasa is actually fat, it's grease. So it's saying much fat, like that's literally much grease. So it's not calling him a big fat pig. If you say grasoso, you're saying greasy, and then it could be interpreted as you're greasy, but that's not exactly what it said. So stuff like that is kind of cool to see that they weren't precise, and some people are like, oh, we called her big fat pig. So that might have to do with the how do you call it, the liveness of it, the fact that they couldn't cut and most people didn't even know Spanish. So yeah. So Bradness, you were born right smack in the middle of the Hedda Hopper story. Oh, that's so cool. And Don Juan is shelved. That is awesome. I wish I could say that. I was born between a Lucy episode, but no, I was not. I was born 2 years after Lucy passed away. Wait, excuse me. I was born 2 years before she passed away. There we go. So you guys can figure out my age, I'm sure. Mira que tiene cosa. Yep. Which is weird because it's not a common phrase. I'm thinking it might be a Cuban common phrase, but someone who's not Cuban in Spanish, it's not something common that non-Cubans say, I think. But it just means like, what in the world, or how the heck, kind of like that. A very nice way of saying how the heck, you know. Exactly. Well, yeah, there's a bit of liberties in the Spanish, a little bit, but I think that's like he's doing very, very, very like simplified Spanish, and kind of mushy. Like when we say God bless you, and you say bless you, it's kind of like that. He does that sometimes. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe because I think he knew he had that flexibility, but that's very interesting that we're noting that in the Spanish. Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. Could be Cuban slang. DP53. Yes, you are right. Mira que tiene cosas, but I mean grammatically, it just doesn't sound right. So that's why I'm meaning it's more like a bless you thing. Like bless you, bless and shoe. It's that doesn't make any sense. And so that's kind of what it means. Mira que tiene cosa. Look what this thing. That's kind of what it means. Tiene is have or has. Look is mira. So it's look what has thing. Look at this thing. It doesn't really translate perfectly, if that makes sense. It's a weird phrase, but it works when you mira que tiene cosa. When he says it kind of fast, it works. You know what I mean? You were born 3 years before she passed away. Alec, we're very similar in age. Very, very cool. Really? Well, actually, that's interesting, Michael. Understand that if they're actually Cuban, like not grown in the U.S. or more Cuban, Desi was mostly known by most Americans, meaning by Americans more than Cubans, I would say. Because although he was born in Cuba, didn't know Cuba, he has Cuban roots, all this stuff. He is more, known here. He's popularly known here and probably known in Cuba by his fame here, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, very good, Stars Wake. So I'm guessing you speak Spanish. Mira nomás, exactly. Mira nomás, and that's a phrase too, because that doesn't make sense either, right? So I'm with you on the mira que tiene cosa, because mira nomás, it's like look no less, right? I guess that's exactly what it means. Look no less, or this crazy. So it's a phrase kind of thing. I look 18. I've been told I do look young for my age. I have been told. I've always looked younger, but I think mentally I feel older. I feel like I'm more mature. I've always hung out with older people, older than my chronological age, that is. Like, I feel more like an old man. Like, in college, I was like an old man. So, yeah. Hans Conried, there it is. Yes, you guys are right. Isn't that cool? And he's like, I've sullied my principles, Mr. Ricardo. Like, his accent is just on par. And the other one, he's even lightens up his voice. He goes like this in the furniture episode. And here he lowers it. Like, he's great. He's very talented. And I could just see that with this. And then the Gilligan's Islands episodes. He came here before the war, Will D. So I'm thinking... Let's see, the 40s? Yeah, of course before the 40s, because he married Lucille Ball in 1940. So definitely before World War I. I mean, it started in 39, but yeah, for the most part. So he came in the 30s, right? You keep hitting enter by mistake. That's cool. Yeah, World War II. Yes. So when he says A, E, I, O, U, that's just the vowels in Spanish. Did you say okay? Read ourselves of slang. Besides okay, there's some words you should promise we should never use. One of them is swell, the other one is lousy. Fred, give us the lousy one first. Oh, jeez. Yeah, Fred looks awesome in that outfit. He looks like a Little Boy Blue type character. It's funny. All right, and I think, guys and gals, this one is after the tippy tippy toe. It'll be over, and then I think I'll do one more. I think we'll do one more episode and call it quits. Showbiz Swan Song. I think that's a perfect way to end this live stream. I really do. I do love that episode. We've been on here for about an hour, so not super long, but I think an hour and a half, an hour 20 is a pretty good time here. Yes, Heather, this is the one where he sings Tippy Tippy Toe in My Garden. Yep. He will do it in just a second. And then Lucy says, well, that's a swell way to get off to a lousy start. She uses, in the same sentence, she uses both words. Do I really look 18? Wow, I guess that's a good thing, right? That is funny. I guess I could be like one of those people who could like be in a movie and play like a high schooler kind of thing. No, probably not a high schooler. College kid, maybe. All right, so let's see here. I love how Fred translates because he has his proper English and Ricky doesn't understand. Oh, I tippy-toe through my garden where all the pretty flowers do. Yeah, this is golden, this whole part. Wait a minute, hold it. Hold it. Oh, jeez. Now, you can definitely, this is way after Lucy declares that she is pregnant. Lucy is enceinte. Then we have we'll count that as one. Pregnant women are unpredictable. Lucy's showbiz swan song, and Lucy hires an English tutor. Yeah, that's 4 episodes in, so it's at least a month. It's probably more than a month. She's probably 3 months or maybe even more. I mean, if you know when Lucy Luckinbill was not Lucy Luckinbill, sorry, Desi Jr. when he was born, you go back 9 months. You can kind of do the math. But I do know in redecorating, she pretty much is pregnant there. Just how it works out with everything. Kind of cool. So what does it say? Frawley would only learn his lines and wouldn't know the story plot. Really? I know he was he never had an issue with actually learning anything. He always came prepared and he always did what he had to do, much to Desi's liking, because they obviously wanted him to do good work. And then Fred's oh no face, where he's like, this song is horrible. Mr. Livermore. Such a proper, like, English tutor type dude. He's really tall, too. Really tall. He's probably like, what, 6'4", maybe? Alright, Michael, thank you for joining the stream. We'll see you all next time. I know that you guys have stuff to do, so if people come in and out, that's very normal and very, very okay with me. Go ahead, Mr. Livermore. And as I tippy-toe along, all the pretty flowers seem to sing this song. I love how he gives the ladies their sheets first, and in their couples. So he goes, Lucy, Ethel, Ricky, Fred. So he gave Fred the last one, and then I think he starts with Ricky. Yep. Derry down pip pip, dilly dilly day. Hey nanny nanny, ribbity bibbity ay. No one could deliver that line like Bill Frawley. Like, seriously. Yeah, Patty, you can definitely see, like, in redecorating, you can see her. She's kind of balloony, and they, you know, they try to cover it up. I'm sure you guys know that they try to cover up the fact that she was pregnant, and they were really scared. They're like, we have to stop the show for like a few months. Like, what are we gonna do? And yeah, they wrote into the story. They had all these issues, but they figured it out, and I'm kind of glad they figured it out. I'm kind of glad they broke those barriers and made it normal to see a pregnant woman on TV. But I think we got to remember how radical and revolutionary that was. The thing is, I don't think people were really up in arms about it. Like, people were enamored. If I look back in this book, where you see that episode where she had Desi, just in case you guys don't know, how popular was that episode? Where she actually had the baby. Lucy goes to the hospital. Now, let me tell you something here. The way this works is you get the ratings and the share. And so most, I think, are, the first number has to do with what percent, and then the other one's like how many TVs or something like that. But basically that, for that episode, yes, it was the most watched. It was almost 72% of Americans were watching that. Isn't that nuts? 3/4 almost of America was watching that episode at the same time live. Not live, but like that's nuts. Like, we talking about American Idol, any popular show that you watch today, like, that is nuts. 3/4. Think about 3/4 of the United States watching one thing. Wow. Yeah, so this book is I Love Lucy book. Really creative title by Bart Andrews. Let me get close up if you want to see. There we go. And it has a lot of good stuff. And Lucille Ball did know about it. She said that Bart Andrews did a remarkable job capturing the fun we had making I Love Lucy. It's a great little book. There's revised and expanded versions, so you can actually see anything that was added to that. So just so you guys know. Yeah, you could not say the word pregnant. You're absolutely right. Well, there was probably only 3 networks. That's true. However, you have to think about this. There was actually 4. The 4th one most people don't know about. But the idea here is this one. That just because there were 4 networks doesn't mean, or 3 networks, let's even say, doesn't mean everyone had to be watching TV. There's other things you could do. We have hundreds of channels now. But if there's a good show, there's going to be a lot of people watching it. Right? And so that was the same day, I believe, that they inaugurated Eisenhower. There were more people tuned in to I Love Lucy than watched the inauguration. That's a big deal. It went against the inauguration of Eisenhower and won. Now, we argue here and say maybe he wasn't a popular president, no one liked Eisenhower, all this stuff. Maybe he wasn't, I don't know. But I think the point is a TV show about a pregnant woman, that's a big deal. Just crazy to me. Yes, Heather, you're on those birthdays. That is awesome. You posted on my page, my Facebook page, which you guys should go visit. I put news there, just what I'm doing with episodes and so forth. Let me get up the last episode, and then we will get done here. Showbiz Swan Song. I love that episode. And good. And so I appreciate that, posting on my Facebook. Links are all in the description. If you want to take a look at my second channel, my Facebook, all that stuff is available for you guys to watch. Mrs. Trumbull took little Ricky to the park. What always knew. Yeah, I think that's a good point, Bradness. I'm glad that you brought that up, because she had the baby. And then people would wonder, where's the baby? Is he abandoned? Whatever. So you always knew that he wasn't abandoned. I think that's a really, really good point. There's one where he's older and he's in the country, and they're like, oh, by the way, they squeeze it in. It's almost like a throwaway line. Oh, by the way, little Ricky's with the Munsons for the weekend. Anyway, let's go. We're going on a trip. Like that. It's almost don't worry about the kid. He's not going to be in this episode. Let's keep moving. Yeah, well, Mrs. Trumbull, I think the story goes that she was a widow. Obviously, Mrs. Trumbull, she kind of kept her married name, and so that was the idea. She was, a single woman or a widowed woman, and that's why she was grumpy and so forth. Very stereotypical. But she took a liking to little Ricky and took care of him. Yes, he's always napping. The Merry Mertes. Yep, they're singing the Carolina song again. And they're doing that scene again. He's really pushing that Carolina. So Bradness, I'm with you on that. That he was big into that song. He seems to push it. It's almost like he wrote it. I know he didn't, but yeah. Right, he didn't write it. I don't think so. Yeah, the writers are very good. I mean, you would be pressed today to see, better written stories. That's what everyone's doing. Everyone's trying to come up with stories that are as good as, the Lucy story. You can watch this and be like, oh, I love the Vitamin Benjamin episode. I love this. Can you create an original story like I Love Lucy did? I know they were the first in TV, but obviously, they could have borrowed from film. They could, just do it. Just make the best story in the universe. They can't. It can't be replicated. Nothing is as timeless as Lucy. in the show. Like, that's just crazy to me. See you, Will. Live long and prosper. When he got on the boat, gone fishing, gone in the last scene. Yes, he leaves. He's gone. So, Heather, there are, other than those, I'm surprised you haven't seen in the live stream that I've done, a couple live streams. Here are two more. Superman and LA at Last. Those two are in color. And both John Wayne episodes, the one where he appears and then the ones where they steal his footprints. So actually, from what I know, those might be the only ones. There might be some here and there scattered. The Christmas one. I believe someone said maybe the redecorating one, but I haven't seen it myself. So I'm not going to just advocate that because I have never seen it. And so I don't want to give my credence that it's true. Because I don't know. It might very well be. Hated the movie based on Lucy's life, and an actress tried to do Vitamin to Benjamin. Why even attempt it? Yeah, you can't mess with I don't want to say perfection, but you don't want to mess with something that's just super legendary or just, I don't know. There's a respect, I think, that the community needs to give to these shows, and I think most do. But, I mean, if you're copying it, what's the point, right? And I would still love to see a show. Now, Seinfeld are a different type of show. That's why I love Seinfeld. That's really, really well written. And I do know that some are like that. But there's just some feeling of Seinfeld that when you watch, most of the characters are scummy. And, you don't get that with Lucy. Everything is pure, perfect, quote unquote, funny, happy, surprising, random, weird, all these positive, fun terms. So yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts in it. And she's definitely pregnant. She's very big in this one, pregnant-wise. Let me see. Let me go. Oops. Yeah, so this is actually the last episode. Hold on, I'm a little confused here. Is this... How's an English tutor? There's 2. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ricky has labor pains. Sculptress goes to... Yeah, so this isn't... But this is getting closer to her having the baby. Lucy becomes a sculptress is the last episode before the one where she has the baby. She's very large, like very pregnant in that episode. Like that's the most pregnant you see Lucy. So... Oh, I'm with you, Patty, on that. It doesn't have to be dirty to be funny. In fact, this isn't dirty, and I think that's why it's funny. I mean, that's what's wrong with some of these TV shows these days. But yeah. My 13-year-old son is a recent Lucy convert. He also listened to the old My Favorite. Really? It says that many of the storylines are similar. Yes, well, that's true. They got a lot of those. Remember, that's radio. And so radio is just voice. And so they put that into visuals and try to make it visually fun. I mean, think about that. It's like writing a book and then you write some really like Harry Potter type thing, very visual things. Imagine seeing that on screen. It's kind of cool. So yes. I like the Hollywood episode where Lucy's mom found a gal in the hotel to look after little Ricky when they all went somewhere. We never had that unseen character before. I never heard of her after. Really? I can't say that I remember that. I really can't. Oh, is this Pepito's one? Not Pepito. Is it? Oh, I think it is. All right, so if any of you have seen my live stream where I do the first Lucy episode, the pilot, not the first episode, but the pilot, the one before that, we see Pepito, and he does a very quick version of this whole skit with the bicycle. And because many people didn't see the pilot, because it was just an episode to see if they would take the show, they re-put him in this episode here. And they remade the audition episode to kind of go with that first pilot. So kind of cool. Mrs. Anderson. Oh, I've heard of Mrs. Anderson. I've also heard of Mrs. Sanders. That's when they threw the rock and broke her window. I don't remember her taking care of that. Let's see. Classy. Yes, this is the one where he does the lion. Absolutely. My impression of a baby cry. In my opinion, I believe Pepito's Mexican. Just from his accent. It's definitely not a Cuban accent. It doesn't sound like it, though. It's very different from Desi's accent, if you have that keen ear. But I could be wrong. It could be Cuban, but he does have that type of accent. And he's a lot older than I think. Probably Pepito here is in his 50s or maybe even older. I would say, yeah, low 50s. Just his face. When you get into his face, you see all these wrinkles. I just always thought that he was on the youngish side, but not really. What Lucy is in Seinfeld is not classy. Famous for the baby cry and riding the bicycle, the small little bicycle. Yeah, you can definitely say that I Love Lucy, in my opinion, is a classy show, whereas Seinfeld, the characters are kind of down in the gutter type thing. You know, it's a different type of show. They're really well written, but they're different. You know, they're very different. It's a different type of comedy. I think that people tend to put comedy in one bowl and think that it's all the same. It's not true. There's King of the Hill, which I don't really watch. It's so dry comedy. This little mosquito trying to attack me. And yeah, and then there's I Love Lucy comedy. There's Seinfeld comedy. There's slapstick comedy. There's Three Stooges comedy. And then there's Charlie Chaplin comedy. That's more like mime. You know, there's just, it's so varied. There's athletic comedy. I mean, I can keep going. Yes, the Scotland episode was definitely in color. They did make it in color, although it is one of my least favorite episodes, so I don't really mind seeing it much. I don't see it much. Oh, look, there's an... Just looking at the guys in the orchestra. Open the gate. I love how Desi actually laughs and really gets into his impression. Like, you can see him. He's really watching him. He does a really good impression of the lion as well. He was using movies to do Crying Baby. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, that would make sense because he definitely sounds like one. And I would think there's a little bit of skill too. I never got what the try to be. What the water squirting thing, if you guys understand that little joke. I don't know. Is it like you peed on him? I really don't know. Is it that lions are afraid of water? I don't know. I'm sorry. I never understood it, and I would love someone to explain it to me if you do know. Let's see. Curb Your Enthusiasm. I've never gotten into that show. I have to tell you. I know it's Larry David, but to me, it's not Seinfeld. There's Jerry Hausner. Makila. I didn't call any Makila words. You couldn't even say Makila. Oh man, give him the music, please. Makila and Mertz. And you can see all in. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to everyone in the orchestra, how much they laugh at this scene. Some were playing, some were not, because their parts call it that. But you can see the one with the glasses and back always laughs all the time. And everyone's just like smiling, watching them, like from another angle. And then, of course, this is where Lucy's pants drop. That's pretty funny as well. And Ethel didn't want to play the man here. She's like, I don't want to play the man. That's just annoying. Why should I play the man? Lucy's like, that should be obvious. Oh my God, look at Lucy's dress. How balloony that is. Now, here's funny. Technically, this should be a blooper. I've caught this, but I didn't put this in my blooper take. I don't think, at least for my blooper video. I'm gonna make other videos with like missed bloopers, but anyway, she pulls a string right there, and you're gonna see it didn't. There we go. So she actually pulled an elastic as she was spinning, and that's what let her little knickers drop. Although she does have knickers below that because the dress will pop up, and she does have another pair that you can see. So she does have clothes under. You can see them there. See, they're just really short for that time, I'd say. And the lion, that's a baby lion though. Like, you can see the mane isn't huge. That was a good fall by Desi, I think. Very, very nice fall there. All right, Heather. See you next time. When Nick and Knight used to show this, they highlight that scene. Yeah, of course. It's a great, great scene. Now, if you notice something, the seat, couch cushion where Lucy's on, how flat that is, and then when Ethel sits on it, how Ethel's a little bit lower. Now, remember, one of those couch cushions was pampered a little bit for Desi, so that he would appear taller than he actually was. Taller or bigger than Lucy, because he didn't want to appear shrimpish next to her. And that was an interesting thing. They padded up one side versus the other side. Of course, Lucy is so upset that she was... And now here's what's funny. Desi actually says, or Ricky actually says, sorry, we don't have room for a gay 90s strip tease. And I thought just even saying strip tease was pretty risky, wasn't it? Now, gay 90s, the word gay is used a lot. I mean, not a lot, but it's used pretty frequently in I Love Lucy. I've heard it at least 4 or 5 times. And, you know, it just means happy. It doesn't have that connotation it has today. But the interesting thing is strip tease. I would think that's, I don't know, a pretty risky word to use back then. Oh, and this is where they're going to practice the Sweet Adeline stuff, which is also pretty funny stuff. Oh, the last living member of Desi's orchestra? How old is he? Like in his 90s? Probably, because I think, yeah, Desi would have to have been 100, right now? Jeez. I mean, probably almost 100, I'd say. Well, what's funny is because I see them and looking at their age, and I think about just chronologically how it works. My great-grandma passed away a few years ago, 3 years ago, and she was 94. She was born in 1919, I believe. So she's a same era as Lucy, like that generation. And so it's crazy to think to look at them at this age, young. I mean, because I would consider all 4 of them young, and, you know, they're not old people, except for Fred, a little bit on the border. But what I mean is, like Desi there, I mean, chronologically now, he'd be like my great-grandma passed away. Like, that's crazy to me. So... Oh, Tony Tarrant. Very good. See, you guys are awesome. You look stuff up and you give us all this information. Tony's turning 91 at the end of May, so he must have been really, really young on the show. He must have been very young, because I think everyone from I Love Lucy, except for obviously little Ricky, Keith Thibodeau, is pretty much deceased. Marion Strong, the actress, died a few years ago. Doris Singleton was another recent passing. So yeah. Oh my gosh, Stars Wake, look at that. I told you he was in his 50s. I was being conservative. I was like, maybe a little more. He would have been 67. I knew it. And he had really black hair, but you know what? I could tell his... Now, I have these little wrinkle lines here when I frown, like that, or when I put my eyebrows up. But he had other type of wrinkles. I was like, he's not making any faces, and he's getting those wrinkles. So, wow. Wow. That's nuts. Very cool that you guys mentioned that. Oh, and they're all singing in tune, and then Lucy goes, ah! Look at Desi. And of course, another instance where Ethel's playing the piano, and she apparently knows what she's doing, contrary to Ragtime Band episode season 6, where she doesn't know even what an A or a C is. She doesn't know any of the notes. Doesn't have a problem here. That is a blooper that I did highlight in one of my blooper episodes. That Ethel knows how to play the piano, then all of a sudden she doesn't. So of course, there's so many bloopers in the show, and people are constantly finding some that I will do. I think the only one I have left, I've done all the seasons except for 3. So that one would be coming up relatively soon in the near future, in the next few months. I won't say when exactly. But I will tell you that I will do follow-ups, and that's just because there's some that you guys mentioned There are some bloopers that I just couldn't fit in one, so season 2, I don't want to do a part 2 because there might be like 3 or 4, so I might combine something just to let you guys know. I might do like extra bloopers we may have missed and so forth. Hey Mars, how are you? Mars 5004. I can hear Ethel now saying about Pepito, older than Fred. Mr. Frolic wasn't born until 1887. Yeah. He's telling Lucy to go. Because she's too close. Oh, that's funny. I love that. That was the Desi Orchestra that recorded Desi for Columbia Records in the early 50s. Yes, the orchestra was great. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I do enjoy doing this. Oh, I was going to say, in the one, I think, where she goes to the hospital, she has one dress where she has, like, a collar. And I don't know if you noticed that. She has, like, a little person here. And it almost looks like, if you really look, like she buttons up like this. It's like a head and then a tiny little body, which I think is pretty funny. It's a really, really wacky dress. I'm sure you guys have known that. Or have seen it. If you're a Lucy fan, of course. Zuba! Zuba. Yes, we're on the tail end of the live stream. Going to be finished. We've been doing this for an hour and a half. Enjoying ourselves, having fun. We watched a few episodes. I'd say this is the 4th. We've watched Redecorating. We've watched Ricky Loses His Voice. This is Showbiz Swan Song and English Tutor. Yeah, 4 episodes. George Watson, which we never see. Lucy is going to, I was going to say betray. No, she's going to stand in for George Watson. So that's kind of cool. Oh, this is one of my favorite, although, well, let me say it like this. I've had that dancing episode, or the episode where I look at the best dance numbers. I definitely love this, but this is not a dancing number. This is more like a, I don't want to say musical, but there's a certain term for this. It's like a musical skit, I guess you can say. So I might have to do one there. Yes, Combatant Man, the episode where she actually cried was Lucy is en scène, where her and Ricky have a very intimate moment where they're just singing about their baby and really happy about it. They announce it to the world on the show. It's kind of cool. Dick Van Dyke, Andy Griffith. Yeah, I do have respect for Dick Van Dyke and his show, Dick Van Dyke Show. I think it was pretty funny. Like I said, I don't think it matches up, in my opinion, to I Love Lucy. Not dissing the show, but if we're ranking stuff. Andy Griffith, I never could really watch, to be honest. It was just so slow-paced for me. The only time I really enjoyed it was when Barney Fife came on, and his outrage, like, I like that type of comedy. Andy was very just demure and calm and, just a little bit like, let's get to Barney Fife. That's just me. Oh, wow, Will Mack, your first live chat. Wow, thank you so much. I am so happy that you enjoy this. Barbershop Quartet. Yes, Andy Griffith was not filmed in front of a studio audience. He had that laugh track for sure. I think Dick Van Dyke was in front of an audience. I'm not sure, but that's my impression. And this is great. I knew they were obviously probably using whipped cream because you don't want to get shaving cream in your mouth. It's gross. It's like soap. But I always like to think, because Lucy goes, like, it tastes really bad. If it was whipped cream, she wouldn't make that face, but she's acting like it is shaving cream. So I think that's awesome. And she just goes, I love Fred's deadpan face right now. Like, it's his turn to put the brush in her mouth. And he just... Oh, that's great. And, of course, they threaten to just hit her with 3 of the brushes. And Lucy has her thing. Ah, perfect, Alondris. I'm glad you confirmed that for me. Very nice. And boom, Sweet Adeline. And I'm pretty sure that's the end of the episode, guys and gals. Seems like it's the end of my episode as well. Wow, this came back quickly. Oh, almost. Well, the last part. Oh, that's why I knew there was something coming on. So here's what happened, guys and gals. This episode, let me look at this. This is Showbiz Swangsong. You might think, why is there some Christmas thing all of a sudden? Well, the Christmas episode, the one in season 6, has this scene. It's a very similar scene, very similarly done. And it was like a commercial kind of thing, I guess you can say. It wasn't part of the original episode, because if you notice, it wasn't very Christmassy. And so what they did, they redid it and made it part of it. They made a whole episode around it, basically, with like mementos and just remembering stuff. And so I don't think there's a note on that. However, Showbiz Swangsong, yes. Showbiz Swangsong, what we just saw with the Sweet Adeline came out, or became, yeah, people watched it for the first time on December 22nd, 1952, 3 days before Christmas. And so they did want to have something going on Christmassy, and this was it. So kind of cool. I'll leave that in there. She was mentored by a great comic because her acting was going downhill. Andy, I believe, was a single camera show, not live audience. It being a Danny Thomas production. Laugh tracks, yes. Lots of laugh tracks. Now, what I like about this, they use the same guy to play Santa as well. Oh, so let me tell you about Pepito. I have a little note on him. He's a Spanish clown, was instrumental in devising the vaudeville routines Lucy and Desi performed in their 1950s road tour. I did not know that. He also appeared in the pilot, yes, which I mentioned, in March 2nd, 1952. His segment in the episode was an afterthought. While the original film was being edited, it was discovered that the episode came up short, leaving a 3-minute gap. So Desi called his friend Pepito and invited him to Hollywood to do a few routines, which were filmed November 7th, 1952. The night Lucy Becomes a Sculptress was done. So that's pretty cool. A little bit of information there on Pepito. Now, it says Spanish. So a lot of people group Spanish to mean anyone who speaks the language of Spanish, which is incorrect. Spanish usually means correctly used Spain, coming from Spain. So I'm going to go with this and say that he was actually Spanish born, according to this book, saying the Spanish clown. I hope he's not just saying because he speaks Spanish. So we'll go with that. Of course, you guys can probably look up and see where he was born. And there's Santa. Now, I'm really suspect that Santa Claus looks like the guy from Vernon Dent from Three Stooges, but I'm not sure. And they say, Merry Christmas, everybody. Yes, the title of the book right here. I Love Lucy book. Really simple name. Really easy to look at. By Bart Andrews. And if you can, just get the latest edition, because I know there are a few renditions, or there's like a few versions to it. Let me see. This is, yeah, because it was written in the 70s and 77 and 85, according to this. So I'm guessing this is the 85 version. There might be newer ones. But look at this. This was a little unusual. I never saw the dedication page. Look who that's dedicated to. Dedicated to Vivian Vance. You may say, why? Well, the revised version, I would say 77, then in 85, so he must have dedicated it to her because she had recently passed away. So, kind of cool. Thank you so much for everyone. You are awesome. I've enjoyed this live stream. I'm going to go do a little bit of work in terms of editing. I have some videos to put up. If you haven't seen the links down below, go ahead and check I have my second channel there for you. I have links to Facebook and Twitter, so I try to keep you updated with my other streams, or just when I have a video. I would encourage you to take a look at that, and maybe support my second channel, which is not as big as this one. Big is relative, of course. Thank you again for all the support. If you haven't, leave the thumbs up. I would really appreciate a thumbs up. And if you haven't hit that bell, if you subscribe, hit that bell. Why is that so important? I tell people because you can put your email, or even I think your phone number, and it'll give you a text when I post something, or it'll let you know, it'll notify you, and that's super important. So whenever I post, you'll get it. All right, guys and gals, we'll see you all next time, and thank you so much for your support. As I said, we'll see you all next time, and don't forget, be positive, always better yourself, and most importantly, be hopeful.